To BSG Annual 2022 with TheOnlyJoey and Hardcore Uprising. And don't worry if you haven't heard this game before, but shame on you anyway. So let's try and educate our viewers here.
Hey everyone, I'm TheOnlyJoey. Thank you. I was only here originally to do some tech stuff and to support all the lovely runners here, but some stuff's happened, and apparently I'm doing a speedrun now. That's pretty cool. So we're gonna play Hardcore Uprising. Time will start when I press ready, and then we will just explain how the game goes from there. So are you guys ready? In 3, 2, 1, go. So I'm running Hardcore Uprising Rising mode Sayuri, which is a DLC character. The first part is actually so easy that I'm actually gonna look around for a bit during the race and see what's going on here.
Hi, Joey.
Oh, hi, man. Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
Pretty good. Apparently I'm doing a speedrun, so...
Looking pretty good so far.
Yeah, I guess I'm doing well, so... Oh yeah, you need to fight a wall because walls, I don't know, walls happen. So for people who don't know the lore of this game, it's actually a Contra game. There's this Contra game called Contra Hardcore. And I guess this is kind of the prequel, technically. Hey, I have to do something. That's cool. So, a couple of the main things are... Basically, I have a sword, and the sword is very dangerous, as swords tend to be. But this sword is extra dangerous, since in this game, if you don't take any... Well, I was going to explain if you don't take any damage, but if you don't lose any lives, you will be in a state where you do extra damage. This is very important for bosses mainly, because bosses can be quite tough. I forgot the one guy, that's fine. Bosses can be quite tough because they have like multiple stages and that kind of stuff. We just try to get through them as fast as possible. There we go.
Just to butt in here for a little bit, just keep in mind that Sayuri is the only character out of the 5 possible characters that you can play in the game that actually has this sword. All the other characters have some kind of gun, as you know from a Contra game. But this sword is like stupidly overpowered, especially if you're playing in the Rising mode, which is different from Arcade. But for now, we're gonna go into our first real boss fight here, so Joey.
This was a very difficult jump. You can actually get this boss very fast if you jump at the exact place. I have 3 jumps and 2 dashes, and it's very difficult timing them perfectly. Let's see if I have it. And we got it.
Perfectly done.
Who says bosses have to be hard?
Well, you know, there are a couple others coming up in a little while.
You know, one we have seen before.
I mean, yes.
This guy. Here we need to just jump to the left and hope for the best. There we go. And all the boss fights, of course, everything is predetermined. There isn't that much randomness going on in the game, which is fortunate.
But don't forget the hardest boss is coming up just now.
Oh yeah. You think it's over, but
nope. Nope.
Jumper!
Jump boss failed.
Hey, intentional.
Oh yeah, you did say you wanted to see if this was faster, right?
Yeah, I wanted to see if it's faster, and looking at this, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, so as I was saying before, we're actually playing on Rising mode, which is different from the very, very hard arcade mode. In that in the Rising mode, you can actually earn credits, with which you can then use to upgrade your characters. So as you can already see, we start with like 7 HP, we have an upgraded sword, we have this charge attack that so you can use like pretty fast. And a couple of other upgrades, like a triple jump, you actually have some invulnerability frames when you're doing your jumps and stuff like that, that you do not have during arcade. So this is a very much more easy way to play the game, but the speedrun is just, you know, just that much faster by extension.
It becomes way more fast-paced doing Rising mode. So the one thing I'm trying to do is avoid like those purple thingies. And actually, if you get hit, you have like these dodge attacks and that kind of things, and running are basically disabled whenever you turn purple. They're quite difficult to dodge. There are like 2 strategies. One is basically jumping over them, and one is using the action attack, which basically dodges it. We are almost done with these plant thingies, so that's fine. There's only, you would say like they're done with the plants and stuff, but there's actually one more plant coming up. So this chopper boss actually has like multiple phases as well, but if you align your character up well, they're not that hard. That was probably not the best thing to do. There we go. Ah, it works. Good enough. There we go.
Just keep in mind that pretty much everything in this game is cycle-based, and if you basically do a single mistake like getting knocked down just running around here, or missing an attack on a boss, that can make it so that you may even lose minutes as you wait for a boss to come back around and be attackable again, because he's doing some shenanigans somewhere off screen. And as you can see right here, this game is just absolutely brutal, because there are a lot of bottomless pits all around, and then you have all these enemies shooting at you, throwing grenades, and these sniper rifles, which are also instant kills if you stand in the reticle for too long. But we're already up into our next boss.
Let's see if I can get this one cycle. This is going to be interesting.
So this was going to be a little bit annoying in the fact that he likes to teleport around the stage quite a lot. So I guess, Joey, you will try and go for the quick kill, but I don't know if you can still make it, because I think you've lost your Uber damage.
Let's see. Yeah, that's going to be a...
Just a
yes, yes, yes. That's another fast cycle. There we go.
Right. Nice recovery there. So yeah, there's actually a hidden mechanic in the game that you deal about double damage, if I remember correctly.
It's about, I don't know if it's exactly double damage, but somewhat like that. Yeah.
At least it's a huge amount of increased damage if you haven't died in a stage yet. So that puts even more pressure on you as the player to not die at any point in the stage, because if you lose that damage increase, well, you know, all the other bosses and even the enemies take longer to defeat, throwing you off the cycles even more. And that just all starts to compound on itself, and it can be really hard to recover from that.
There we go. Let's see if I can get this. Whoa. Let's just take it slow. I said, well, not taking it slow. There we go. Let's do this one.
Yeah, as you can see, Ollie, if you just do this wall climb perfectly, like all the cycles align, you just have a straight shot up right to the top. But if you get hit, knocked down, anything holds you off, well, you just have to go ahead and wait for the next cycle, which obviously costs you time. And here we are at the mid-boss of the stage, which will also serve as the end boss of it. Spoilers, I guess. So let's see how you handle Tigris.
This one can be really quick if you just basically run towards him, not get knocked down, try doing damage, and there we go.
Nice quick kill.
It cost me my life, but still fast.
I mean, he died as well, and I think he died first, so that should count.
He died
right?
harder,
Like,
that's important.
Exactly. If the enemy dies before you, you definitely won there.
So I think those enemies, like the little spider thingies, are the only ones that are actually random. I haven't figured that out, but I think they're random because every time during waterfall thing that we have in a bit, I think the location is always different. So it's interesting how they still try to... A little late. How they still try to like get a little bit of diversity in every run, which is not always great.
So one thing to keep in mind here is, you probably already saw it while Joey was doing the run, is whenever he jumps, he blinks blue. And while he's blinking blue, he's actually invulnerable. However, he only is invulnerable while he is in the upwards momentum of his jump. As soon as he starts coming back down, he is not invulnerable anymore. So that is a very interesting mechanic to make use of, to go through projectiles, enemies, whatever it is that is obscuring your way forward. But, you know, you have a really small window of opportunity to actually go ahead and do that. So that is just like a very precise movement that you have to basically learn if you want to go ahead and go really fast.
So these guys, I think they spawn at random points because every time when they play this, they're on different places. And they're really frustrating because they don't really do that much damage, but they just knock you down, which gets you out of your cycle, which is very frustrating.
Here we have the boss of the third stage. This is 573 Draconis, exactly. And it's another very cycle-heavy base boss. What you want to do is you want to jump on top of him and then just quickly rush him down as fast as you can. Because if you don't manage to do that, it can lose you a lot of time because he likes to just waste your time by going off screen. You have to wait for him to come back. You have to go back onto your little floaty thing again because, you know, this tends to return. And let's see if you can still get it.
I think.
There we go.
Yes.
All right. We died, but we got still the fast cycle, so that's good.
Like, this is probably the most frustrating boss not to get one cycle, because if you get to the other cycles, you have to go through like 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes of basically trying not to get hit and die in order to be able to start doing him damage again, which is very frustrating.
Another thing that you get in Rising mode, you can actually buy multiple one-ups. So you actually start Rising mode with, I think, 30 lives, if I remember correctly.
I think you start out, well, with all the upgrades, you get 30 lives.
Yeah, exactly. So that is a huge upgrade to playing the game on arcade, or even when you start out on Rising mode, because I think you start out with like 2 or 3 lives as a standard for a game like that.
And you can pick up lives on the way, but they're not always in convenient places.
Yep. They're also pretty hidden around the stages, so you actually have to go to some, well, very well-hidden spots on the maps to actually make them appear, and then you still have to shoot down the capsule and actually pick up the life. And if that happens to be over a bottomless pit, well, good luck grabbing that in the small window of time that you actually have to do. But that is all just to say, it is so much easier playing this game on Rising mode than it is actually to play it on arcade.
Definitely. So this is the first auto-scroller. I don't like auto-scrollers, but at least there is some stuff to do while being in the auto-scroller.
Oh, it has great music.
It definitely has, yeah. The composer of this game and of all is actually the same as most of the Contra games. An absolute legend. I can't remember his name because Japanese names are hard, but definitely look up his work. There we go, that's an easy win. Actually, this is one of the more frustrating stages because it's very easy to just spaghetti everything and getting knocked down all the time, so I really try to utilize my blue frames as much as possible. And
I guess I could say stage 4 is definitely one of the stages where Sayuri has a little bit of a handicap compared to all the other gun characters because they can obviously take up all the enemies from range, whereas Sayuri still has her charge slash, or she shoots out the projectile, but that is just not something that even comparable to, say, the laser that Bahamut, the main character of the game, actually can use here, and just, you know, just stand somewhere in a corner on the middle and shoot straight up, and the laser just seeks out its targets and kills everything on screen.
I actually think the most useful weapon in the game is the fire, since the fire has both a normal, well, at least in Rising, it has both a normal constant attack and charge attack. And the charge attack actually destroys things like bullets and projectiles and that kind of stuff, which is something that my charge shot for Sayuri cannot do.
That's true, yeah.
Oop, that's fortunate. The only nice thing about this stage is that I cannot really lose that much time except for on the boss, so just get a safety health.
Oh, and you know, it's kind of nice because this is round about the halfway point through the run in a way, because this is the 4th out of 8 stages. So it's just nice to get a little bit of a breather at least.
Definitely.
Because it's only getting harder from here.
It's very easy to memorize these things, but the first times you're playing this, it goes absolutely terrible. It's one of those games that is easy to play but difficult to master.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of opportunity for spaghetti.
I mean, you can understand there's just so much going on. It's on the screen, like whenever enemies are around, you're just getting swarmed with projectiles, with grenades, with the enemies themselves, which obviously do contact damage, because of course they do in a game like this, as if it wouldn't be hard enough already. So you just have to constantly keep track of whatever is happening on screen here.
So what I'm doing right there on the right side is actually killing enemies off screen, because if the jumpy guys get onto the field while you go to the left, it's very easy to get knocked down. I like to headbang during this part of the game. Like, you're not doing anything anyway, might as well headbang with your character, right? Let's see. This one is very tricky as well. Let's see if I can get it one cycle. We do. Nice. This is one of those bosses again where if you don't get in one cycle, he has like very frustrating phases that just waste a lot of time.
And with the fake out there, you actually have to lie down on your hoverboard here, otherwise you will die.
Yes.
But the stage still isn't over yet.
There is, fortunately here, like a safety health that you can always pick right in front of the boss, which is very nice of them. Because basically they're saying, this is going to be hard, you need it. I didn't need it this time, still like to pick it up, just to keep it in my memorization.
Alright, and here we come into the boss fight for stage.
This is actually quite a different boss from all of the other ones, since it's a big flying thing, and you first have to kill these green eyes in order to get him into the next phase. There are 4 around with 8 in the middle, but you actually only need the inner ones of both sections in order to destroy it. I'm actually taking intentional damage here to get to the insides quicker. I like to go right to left, which is a preference. There we go.
I want to say that this boss is probably easier with Sayuri than it is with the other characters.
Yes.
Because if you're using gun weapons at this point, they obviously get blocked by a lot of the, well, unattackable points of the boss here, and you actually cannot... I don't think you can use them diagonally, only in a straight line.
Depending on the weapon. Like, there is like an 8-direction thing going on.
But still, it's just easier to, you know, go up right until the crystals and just hit them with your sword than with your gun, for sure.
Definitely. Like, in general, Sayuri is just way faster than the other categories. The only difference is when you need to be, like, far away. Like, currently I'm standing here instead of... Well, okay, I might as well get the iframes. There we go.
It's another thing to keep in mind, Rising mode actually lets you buy an auto-fire ability for Sayuri, so Joey actually can just hold down the attack button and Sayuri will just constantly slash her sword really, really fast. If he didn't have that upgrade, like for example if he was playing arcade mode, he would have to tap the attack button for every single sword strike, which makes it really taxing on your thumb.
Also stay hydrated. It's very important. There's a heat wave going on, you know? Okay.
Stage 5, the laboratory, with our favorite section, I suppose. Everybody loves escort missions, right, chat?
Oh, God.
Right. Please go ahead and donate if you love escort missions.
Why am I grabbing the wall there?
Well, I probably shouldn't have said that because nobody likes them. Donate if you don't like escort missions.
I think we get more money if you don't like escort missions and you...
Yep.
Actually, that was close. Actually, don't.
Nobody heard that first part.
Never happened. So normally you have to like destroy these. Do I have to? Yes! Haha! Thank you, Box, for saving me. Normally you can either do this level stealth mode, which is very slow, but like a kind of fast, kind of fun mechanic where you can be in the boxes and the guys don't see you, and if they don't get alerted, then they don't close the gates. Normally you need to destroy like the little things that have like the green light on them in order to open the gates, because if you're playing gun, it's actually almost impossible to destroy those with your gun. But since we're Sayuri with world's best sword, apparently, we can just slash through the doors and don't really care about all that stuff.
I mean, it definitely cuts through a lot over the course of this game. It's quite like that.
Definitely, yeah. There we go. This is one of the more technical platforming parts that I screwed up a little bit, but that's fine.
As you can see, not only have you to contend with the normal standard enemies, there are also these flyers which can actually grab you and just drop you in the lava too. So it's a really taxing section, even though it doesn't go on for that long. We're making our way further into the laboratory, and pretty soon we should come onto this one. This is Dr. Geo Mandrake.
This is where runs go to die.
Yes. Because as you can imagine, we now have to protect this guy running all the way behind us. He actually does have a health bar. if it gets depleted all the way, he doesn't exactly die, but he will just fall to the ground for a couple seconds, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to stay there and wait for him to get back up again.
You can actually scroll him somewhat if you go to the edges, but I'd like to destroy the enemies just in case, because sometimes he gets weird with his logic, like any escort mission tends to do.
I mean, at least he followed you up the stairs, so there's that.
That's something, he's trying.
And now comes the boss of the 5th stage. It's the Celestial Emperor. Nice name for a alien baby thingy.
Or a metal band, depending on what you like. Yeah.
Fair enough, fair enough.
But yeah, it's some kind of weird alien baby thing. I don't know the lore of the of this guy, but the only thing you need to know is he's bad in K. There we go. We first need to destroy the laser arms, then we destroy the firearms, and then we go into the baby alien thingy-mabob. I don't know. Video games are weird, okay?
Very good fight, though.
There we go.
Mission clear.
Turning up is the second auto-scroller, because... but this one I actually kind of like, because you're on a train, and I like trains.
A true warrior.
I mean, you know, after all this action, I guess it's just fair that we have another section to cool down just a little bit before we head into the finale, because boy, oh boy, the last 2 stages are gonna be a thing.
Definitely. They're also the 2 that I probably had to practice the most in order to get consistent in. They have very specific sections that, if you don't figure them out, miss the trophy. There's actually a category where the run is basically the same, except for you have to find 1 trophy in every level, and they're not particularly in like accessible spots. So I think there are like 2 or 3 trophies that you can actually get without losing that much time, and the other ones you kind of have to know.
Yeah, but the thing is, not only have to you be in a specific spot to actually make them appear, you then have the challenge of actually collecting them, because you just saw this yellow golden capsule at the top of the screen before the train actually took off. That was the trophy, so you have to, you know, slash down that capsule to actually be able to get the trophy in the first place. And missing that, well, basically invalidates your own if you're going for that category. So, fun!
There we go. There we go. I always like to pay a little tribute to QD6, who is the current arcade record holder, and he does this thing with his character where during that part of the song, he's switching his weapon all the time, making a clicky noise. But I don't have like that ability since I don't have weapons, so I just use my sword instead.
I mean, you could try maybe charging your sword to the rhythm in a way, you know, get that slinging sound.
Ah, that's really slow. That doesn't really work. There we go. All these positions of these spawns are again predetermined, so we kind of know what's going to happen where. There's this little thing that I like to do, which is collecting the laser and then jumping off, because, I don't know, it's kind of swag, just like this 1-up. I don't need it, but it's an auto-scroller, so might as well.
I mean, I know I should be commentating a little bit more, but it does like to jam out with the music over here.
Yeah, definitely. The music is absolutely great in this game. Let's hope it doesn't do the weird thing where... Okay. No! It does did the... So normally it only falls on the middle one, but sometimes if like your trains get destroyed, it's because why not make the trains destroyable and waste even more time? It can actually fall on the first or the last one as well, but that's always kind of difficult if things doesn't go the way you want them to be. But we managed. You don't really lose time in these sections anyway, but yeah.
Just makes it look a little bit bad.
This is also a very difficult part.
very difficult boss fight.
Oh, hey, I'm done. Cool. Hey, what's up? So there's a weapon here that always spawns. It's a spread. And the thing is that 9 out of 10 times when we try to find him, it disappears. When we try to actually get him, it disappears into the ceiling. So it actually became a running joke between me and Lucy, who's actually my friend who we are running the game co-op with. It's actually a thing where we always say, okay, it needs to go into the ceiling, otherwise it's not a good run. So it's a good run because it disappeared in the ceiling.
Absolutely.
There we go. This is also a... Let's see.
I mean, it's a Contra game, so obviously we need to transforming mech to fight it at one point, and I guess this guy fits the bill.
Definitely.
And that was him.
I actually learned to do a charge shot at the end because he's actually moving away. So I had some situations where I was standing not in front enough, and like he just goes to the back with like a little bit of health left, and then you're just waiting for nothing to happen. It's very frustrating. So I always do a charge shot in the end in order to make sure that he's actually gone.
As we said, you definitely do want to try to go for all the quick kills on all the bosses, otherwise you're just losing massive amounts of time.
Definitely.
Speaking of losing time, here comes the next boss, so we'll see how this one goes.
This one can go really fast if you don't fall off, and yeah.
I mean, we're on a train, we're going up a tunnel, so obviously we're going to fight a robot spider. I mean, that's just how things go.
That's fast. Second stage. Like, this boss, when I was playing it casually, actually took me like 10 minutes the first time or something like that, and now it's like 20 seconds or something. The uber damage really helps, yeah.
Alright, with that out of the way, we are on to stage 7, the penultimate stage, and things are gonna heat up quite a bit now.
Definitely.
We are now in the headquarters of the enemy, so obviously they're very well guarded. And yeah, just look at these first couple screens and tell me that this isn't hard if you play it casually.
Everything escalates from like 0 to 100 in this level, and it's only getting worse.
Absolutely.
But this music is so great that I don't care, and everything is awesome.
So as you can probably already tell, there are a lot of enemies running around here, so you can cut them down pretty easily. But once again, if you're playing this on arcade or with another character, if you don't have a weapon ready, for example, because you died just previously and you have to just use your normal machine gun, this is literal hell to get through.
Definitely. Like, if you're back to your base gun, then most of the time in gun runs you just reset, because it's never faster to just have base gun instead of having something like fire or laser or even spread, or, well, I guess machine gun, maybe overspread. Even though spread is probably the most loved weapon in the entire Contra series.
For sure.
Weirdly enough, spread is really useful, but it's not the strongest weapon in this game, so... I guess maybe because it's a Contra spin-off, kind of, that they are changing the meta slightly and giving someone a sword. I don't know.
So can I just question the interior of this building for just a moment, where they can shoot literal missiles up the elevator shaft?
Yeah.
Like, who the hell was this architect?
And weirdly enough, this is not the only elevator shaft where we have to do this. Well, we don't have to fight enemies over there, but we are going to go for the classic Contra jump on missiles and hope you don't fall off kind of thing.
They're just rigged for intruders, for sure.
Oop. So there are like 2 platforming sections that are a little bit difficult, but I found out with this one you can just go to the left, and for some reasons you can actually get through the first 2 lasers without doing anything, but the second laser is close to the wall, so you actually have to do the little spinny jump thing in order to get through it.
Yeah, so normally you would have to go all the way through the middle, you know, through all these moving platforms and through the enemies and whatnot, but no, Joey can just climb to the left wall there and make his way upwards.
Attempting a skip here, which is like no.
Sadly missed.
I was
so if
too
you do
high.
that at the right height and you jump down the building here, you can actually spawn above the trigger that spawns the helicopter right here. So you can actually skip out on this fight, so you don't actually have to stay there and actually kill the helicopter.
I have a second chance here. No, I was too late.
All right.
It's basically free to try it, because if you fall here, you don't lose your uber damage. So just always go for chopper skip. Initially, I didn't ever do chopper skip until I found out that you could keep the uber damage, because you really need it at this
Absolutely.
boss fight in order to make it go quite a bit faster.
Because as we said before, as long as you haven't died in a stage yet, you actually deal increased damage. But once you lose your very first life, well, pertaining to some exceptions to the rule there, you actually deal reduced damage. And you obviously do not want to do that, because dealing reduced damage costs you even more time. And now all the elevators have been destroyed, so obviously we're going to do the Contra thing here and just jump between all these missiles to right to the top of the elevator shaft.
The missiles are always at the same place, so I know that the one on the right after the middle missile is going to be the last one, which is this one. Oh, I fell off. There we go. Never happened, no one's seen that. And this is the other platforming section. I actually am still trying to figure out multiple ways of doing this consistently, but since this is a marathon, let's just go for the safe route that I practiced. Oh,
Yeah, but as you can see, if you have to go up these elevator shafts like the intended way, this is really hard to do. There are so many enemies there. If you get hit, you actually lose your grip on the bars that you hold onto and just plummet to your death. It's a thing. It's a thing, for sure.
I'm doing a little thing blind over here because there's like a transition, and it actually throws a grenade to prevent you from running up the wall before the transition is done. Of course, we now know where the grenade is, so we can already run before the transition is even done. But it does mean that it's quite easy to get... Bro, what are you doing? But it is quite easy to skip it. You just need to figure out the first grenade, dash around it, and just continue running. So this stage is pretty... This is probably my least favorite part of the game, since you kind of have to chase this guy and a lot of things happen. Sometimes you can get over him and actually run in front of him. Those are probably my faster runs. But you can get sticky sometimes. Jump here because the floor explodes if you don't, and then you fall, which is unfortunate. Because falling here does do away with your uber damage, which is weird, but I don't know. It's quite inconsistent, and I don't know why they... Oh, don't kill those guys. We need them to stand on them. I didn't do that, and there we go.
Can we just talk about how convenient it is that these guys just drop around with these umbrellas, like right at the points where we need them? Like, they don't need to do that, but they are just there for our convenience, I guess.
I don't know.
Very much appreciated.
It's kind of like the Bowser's Castle kind of situation. Oh, I thought I already had it. It's kind of the Bowser's Castle situation, like, who is the architect for these kind of places?
Absolutely. I mean, we just established that with the missiles and that elevator shaft, so, you know, this is really
definitely
weird architecture for sure.
Everything is slowed down at the moment. That's kind of weird. Okay, there we go.
Coming up to the next boss, you might remember this guy from the second stage, and this is basically his upgraded form because now he has a bigger sword and a new name, so obviously he's harder. Right?
Because, of course, you haven't seen my final form! Roar! Because that's how anime works, and I guess this is an anime-inspired game somewhat, so...
Anyway, for sure. So even Joey hadn't lost his uber damage here, this guy would have basically been dead before he would have reached the left side of the screen.
Exactly.
Obviously lost a couple seconds there, but, you know, nothing too major. But we're still not done with this level because there's one more boss that we still have to go through. And this is gonna be the best doggy of all, I suppose?
Well, there's a doggy later in the final stage, which is, I guess, the better doggy, but...
I mean, this one has multiple heads that you can pet. So,
that's true, but he also kind of looks like some sort of snake. Well,
yes.
What is this? It is like a... Is this doggy? I'm confused. I don't know.
I mean, yeah. So this is Cerberus. Please make him go away. I don't want to look at this anymore.
I try. It's actually not that difficult. He has this entirely different stage where he just flies off and basically, let me not die again. But you can just lay down here, continue doing damage, stand exactly on this spot. Let's see. Damn it! I missed two small steps. Yeah. That's close.
But with that, we're actually onto the final stage of the game already, and this is basically where the game pulls off all stops and just throws everything and the kitchen sink at you. Multiple times at once, basically.
Yeah,
so,
it's intense. There's a lot of things going on, so I don't know if I am able to commentate a lot, so let's see how this goes.
So the first part of this stage actually starts out pretty okay, I want to say.
Yeah,
so in a second, we're gonna grab a
right.
motorcycle and just, you know, try to catch up with all these air carriers setting off. So it's a bit of an auto-scroller once again. All the enemies are slowly starting to spawn in. You have to keep track of the missiles being shot in the background there, because in a second they will just try and hit you. But as Sayuri can just stand in one point and just straight up slash them down because they can't even hit you. And there are more enemies, and in just a couple seconds we'll actually leave this part of the stage and go on to the real meat and bones, so to speak.
There we go. Now we go to a part where, together with my co-op runner, we have this thing where at this part we yell "Biker Mice from Mars." So shout out to everyone who actually knows the old series Biker Mice from Mars.
I mean, could you imagine if that motorcycle would just straight up fly to Mars right now?
That would be
massively overshooting the goal.
I think that's a different category. Okay, let me focus.
Now that we all landed on this airship carrier, you can just see like the enemy is just full of enemies and bullets and grenades and lasers and whatever it is that tries to stop you, because this is the last stage of the game. You know, there are no more stops pulled here. The enemies do try to absolutely murder you, but as you can probably just swing your sword and try to make your way through this. Now here, the two parts of the ship are starting to connect every time, basically like a trash compactor that you may know from the Mega Man games. So this obviously is an instant kill if you get smashed between them.
Okay, let me go for backup here.
And this is all, of course, cycle-based. So if Joey gets stopped like he did just there, obviously the cycles will be off for the remainder. And if you get hit into those electric balls down there, well, that's also an instant kill. Isn't that fun?
But weirdly enough, the yellow things actually don't do away with your uber damage. And I still don't know why it's so inconsistent, but
that also doesn't matter that much anymore, because now we are just platforming above a bottomless pit. So let's see if you can get that. Yeah, that is very hard to grab right there, what he did.
Oh, there we
it
go.
Can basically only work because you have your triple jump, which makes it so that you can make the corner there. And just remember, every hit will knock you back and basically straight into a bottomless pit there, making you lose a life and your uber damage. And with that, we are thankfully through this hell of a section onto the mid-boss fight of the final stage.
Which is also a frustrating mid-boss because, well, the first stage, the first part isn't that bad, but after a while he starts going Beyblade on us, and that's not a good thing.
So this boss is very interesting in the way that this is more of a 2.5D kind of stage, as you see by the rotating platform ring we're standing on. And the thing here is you see these blue lines at the left and right side of the screen. If you are to cross these lines, the platform actually ends there and you can plummet to your death into a bottomless pit. So obviously, we do not want to do that. For the first stage, though, we are trying to kill these eyeball things at the left and right side. And after that, the actual generators will come out of these holes, just like this. So Joey will just go ahead and destroy them as fast as he can, obviously, until he gets to the last one. Because the last one he doesn't want to destroy immediately, but rather climb up on it until the ceiling. So eventually it comes around and then destroys it once he's at the ceiling. Because that makes it so that he can set up a quick kill on the actual boss here, which will be the engine.
Let's see if I get it.
Just barely missed
close.
it. Because what happens with the Vitus engine is that every time you hit it, it will start rotating in the other direction with increased speed. So what you're trying to do here is just you wait until it's just at the edge of the screen and then quickly down slash as fast as you can. And if you still have the uber damage and a little bit of luck, we can actually kill it before it leaves for its first rotation around this, the screen here.
Yes. Okay, this is the final platforming section. Also something we call the shop, because there are like 4 weapons that spawn here. So whenever we do the co-op run or a gun run, we basically shop there for weapons. You can get a fire there, I think a machine gun, a spread, and a rocket. So actually quite some useful weapons that you can use for the last bosses. Of course, this boss has 3 phases, which is a classic, I guess, video game trope in general.
But what you actually can see in this fight really well is how fast Sayuri actually swings her sword when she actually hits something. Because if you just stand there and hit nothing and you just hold down the button, her sword swings come out fast, but not at full speed, unless you start hitting things where the speed just goes up to 11. And the boss's health just basically melts away, as you can see here. But sadly, Joey did take a death, which is why he doesn't have the uber damage anymore. Otherwise, this boss would already be dead.
Exactly.
So we actually will see a couple more attacks, which is pretty nice to show off, I guess. But yeah,
that was it.
That was the second phase already. So we are coming up on the last phase of the boss. So time will be once we actually defeat the boss and then hit the helicopter.
Gets to the chopper.
That is actually the 4th boss or the 4th phase. Getting to the chopper.
Yep.
As we so do. But yeah, this is probably the hardest boss in the game because obviously, Tiberius hasn't had enough of us yet. So he transforms once more into this flying evil monstrosity. The problem is the battleships are also destroyed. So we're actually fighting, well, on the debris that is falling down from the heavens. So this is a very unstable battlefield to fight the final boss in. And I guess since you don't have the uber damage anymore, you probably won't be able to quick kill it.
I'm going to try for left face, otherwise I will get him at center face.
Speaking of, we actually have a very quick $10 donation here from McKilhine Dominic. I hope I didn't completely butcher that. Anyway, it was like a $10 donation just saying, "Go, Joey, go! Go,
nice.
Joey, go!" And I think that is pretty fitting for the final boss here.
No, I don't get him on left face.
All right.
Nope, that's
close
fine.
enough, though.
We can get him on top face.
So we just wait for him to come down again and slash into pieces. All right, that is the final boss done. Time is coming up. Because as we said, we're still not completely done with this, as we have to wait for the chopper to come and pick us up again, because Tiberius slashed that away before he came for us. So you can still actually die in this part. And obviously there is an achievement to finish the complete game without dying. And if you make it this far and then not hit the chopper, that is very, very unfortunate.
Yeah,
but we'll come in just a second, so get ready on time.
Wait, let me just do this real
and
time. That was a weird run.
It was for sure, but you made it through it.
This game actually has in-game timer, so let's see what the time is. That's a 39:28. Respectable sub 40. Nice. So that was Control Hardcore for one. There's a nice little outro sequence. Let's not deal with that. Play the game for yourself. Like, the story is actually really good. You are going to get frustrated at first, but everything is actually really, really, really nice.
Hard recommendation to start on Rising mode and just work your way up. And if you're feeling very confident, you can try arcade mode, but it is hell.
Play it casually, yeah.
Yes, it is hell.
So to finish off, I want to give a special thanks to Lucy, who has been playing this with me for a long time. We actually have a world record on the co-op category together after spending a lot of time grinding this game, which has been really fun. Shout out to Anti-Aaron, who has been actually playing this game on BSG before on BSG Online, who currently is on the leaderboards. And Aaron, if you're watching, I PB'd before this, and I'm really close to your Sayuri score, so
Can
watch
confirm
out.
I was there.
Watch out. There, I have a screenshot. Anyway, thanks to everyone here. Thanks to Killer Chair for actually getting me into BSG, and everyone here for being absolutely nice. Giving me the opportunity to send up a backup run while the schedule was a little bit in shambles. And I really hope to be able to do this again. Thank you for Ishma, who has an unpronounceable name, for being an absolute legend and helping me out with commentary.
My pleasure.
And I hope to see you guys in the next time.
All right. Thank you so much, Joey, for this awesome run of Hot Cops Uprising. Coming up, we have Katsuto playing Here Comes Nico, a game that I personally have never heard of before. I've seen a little bit in the practice rooms, so I'm very interested to see how this shakes up, as probably you guys do as well, because I actually forgot to mention that with this $10 donation we just received, we actually managed to pass the $2,300 mark. So keep it up, everybody. We want to hit 2,400 very soon. But first, we're going to take a small break, and then we're back with our next run. See you guys soon.